Okay, imagine this. What if you could build a system for your business that just never clocks out? A digital employee that works 24/7, grabbing leads, sorting them, firing off instant responses, and heck, even sending invoices, all while you're asleep or on vacation or, actually focusing on the big picture stuff. It sounds a little bit like science fiction, right? But it's totally possible. And today, we're going to walk through the exact blueprint to build it. Let's get into it. This quote from Nate Herc just nails the mindset we need here. This isn't about finding a slightly faster way to do all that manual grunt work. Nope. It's about getting rid of it completely. The goal is not to build another tool that you have to constantly manage. It's to create a machine that gives you leverage. We're talking about a shift from active, hands-on work to automated value creation. And that mental shift, it's everything. So, look at this contrast because I think we can all recognize this reality. On one side, you've got the manual grind. You know the drill, chasing down leads, copy-pasting data between a million tabs, letting those critical follow-ups just fall through the cracks. We've all been there. It is a guaranteed way to hit a wall. It's a bottleneck. But on the other side, that's the automated flywheel, a system that runs on its own, gets more valuable as your business grows, and frees you up to do what you actually do best. That's the dream. That's the transformation we're shooting for. Let's just be real for a second. We all get bogged down by those little repetitive tasks that feel like death by a thousand paper cuts, right? Replying to the same kind of inquiry over and over, updating the same spreadsheet, chasing the same info. This is the exact problem that automation is built to solve. And it's a way bigger deal than you might think. It's quietly capping your potential for growth. Think about it. Every single minute you spend typing data into a spreadsheet or sending that same welcome email is a minute you're not spending on strategy, on building a better product, or talking to your best customers. It's a massive opportunity cost. And manual work isn't just slow, it's a magnet for human error. A typo in an email, a misplaced decimal point in a quote, little things that can really damage your reputation. Plus, you can't scale it. You can't manually process 100 leads a day with the same care as 10. It literally chokes your business's growth. So how do we actually build this automated flywheel? Well, every machine needs an engine. And for us, that engine is a really powerful and, believe it or not, surprisingly accessible tool called n8n. This is the platform that's going to let us design and run our 24/7 digital employee. And we won't even need a team of developers to do it. And don't let the name throw you off. The best way to think about n8n is like digital Legos for your business. It lets you connect all the different tools you're already using, your website forms, Gmail, Google Sheets, Stripe, Slack, you name it, and make them all work together in a logical sequence. You build these connections on a visual drag-and-drop canvas. You're basically drawing a flowchart of how you want your business to run. No heavy coding required. It's pretty cool. Now, this is a super important insight from the experts that's going to save you a ton of headaches. Before you get all excited about fancy AI agents and complex stuff, you have to master the basics. Start with classic, rule-based automation. If this happens, then do that. These predictable, almost boring in a good way workflows, like our lead management process, are the absolute bedrock of a scalable business. They deliver the most immediate, tangible value. Get this right first. All right, so before we can start building, we just need to quickly get our heads around 3 fundamental ideas that make all this magic possible. Seriously, once you grasp these 3 things, the whole world of automation becomes way less intimidating. You'll start seeing potential workflows everywhere in your business. So let's break down these core parts. First up, nodes. These are the building blocks. They're like the individual verbs in our automation sentence. One node might be the trigger, the thing that kicks off the whole process, like when a new form is submitted. Then the next nodes are actions, like send a confirmation email, or create a customer in Stripe, or add a row to a Google Sheet. You just connect them in the order you want things to happen. It's really that simple. Next, we have APIs. Okay, this sounds super technical, but the idea is actually incredibly simple. An API is just a standardized way for different software programs to talk to each other. It's the universal translator that lets your website form talk to your spreadsheet or lets your spreadsheet talk to your invoicing software. The great thing is, n8n handles all the hard parts of dealing with these APIs for you, packaging them up into those easy-to-use nodes. And this is the perfect way to think about it. With a vending machine, you just press B4 for your chips. You don't need to know anything about the coils, the payment system, or the cooling unit inside. An API is exactly the same. Your workflow makes a simple request like, hey, create an invoice for this customer, and the API gives you a predictable response back like, success, here's the invoice ID. That's it. You don't need to know how the sausage is made. And finally, there's JSON. This is the language that all the data speaks as it flows through our automation system. Now, it might look a little bit like code at first glance, and yeah, it is structured, but you do not need to be a programmer to understand it. It's really just a super organized list that carries information from one step to the next. This makes it crystal clear. JSON is just a list of p-value pairs. So when a new lead fills out your form, their information, the key name with the value Jane Doe, the key email with the value jane@example.com, it all gets neatly packaged up in this format and passed between your nodes. The next node receives that package, reads the email address, and knows exactly where to send the confirmation. Simple as. All right, theory is over. Now for the fun part. We're going to take these building blocks, nodes, APIs, and JSON, and actually construct a high-value workflow that automates lead management from that very first click all the way to a paid invoice. This is the system that truly, literally makes money while you sleep. So our workflow has 5 core stages. It kicks off the instant a lead is captured from a form on your site. Then it intelligently routes that lead based on rules that we get to set. After that, it sends an instant, personalized response, and at the same time, it updates our central database, our CRM. And finally, it can even kick off an invoicing process and a follow-up sequence to make sure nothing ever gets missed. So here's how it starts. Let's use a real example from Futurepedia, a sponsorship inquiry form. When somebody fills out that form, boom, that's our trigger that kicks off the workflow. The very next step is a special logic node called a switch. Think of it as just a decision maker. We're going to tell it to look at the budget field from the form and then make a decision based on that number. And here is that decision point in action. The switch node creates 2 totally separate paths. If the submitted budget is less than $1 million, the data goes down one path. If it's $1 million or more, it goes down a completely different high-priority path. This is what we mean by smart routing. Instead of treating every single lead the same, we're instantly prioritizing our most valuable prospects without lifting a finger. Okay, so now each of those paths has its own set of custom actions. For the lower budget leads, maybe we send a polite automated email that points them to a self-serve option. For the high budget leads, we send a totally different email that immediately notifies our sales team and tells the client, hey, we're on it and we'll be in touch shortly. But here's the crucial part. For both paths, the very next step is logging all that submitted data into a Google Sheet, which acts as our simple, bulletproof CRM. And this is what that looks like. Every single lead captured perfectly. No more copy pasting, no more forgotten entries. We can see the company, the contact, their budget, and most importantly, what automated action our system took. This becomes our single source of truth, updated in real time. From here, that high-value path could even have other nodes that automatically create a draft invoice in Stripe and a follow-up reminder in Asana or Trello. The possibilities are endless. So we've built the machine. We get how it works. But what's the actual result? What's the real payoff for setting all of this up? Let's talk about the actual return on investment, because it goes way beyond just saving a bit of time. This is from a McKinsey & Company's study on the impact of this kind of workflow automation, a 30 to 200% return on investment in the first year alone. And that's not from some complex, crazy expensive AI system. That's from automating the exact kind of predictable, rule-based tasks we've been talking about. This is real, measurable value that comes from faster response times, fewer errors, and way more consistent follow-up. But the ROI goes even deeper than that. You've created what we call a flywheel. The automation saves you time and ensures quality. You then use that time you got back to grow the business. As the business grows, more leads come in, and the automation handles that increased volume flawlessly, which saves you even more time. The value of the system doesn't just add up, it compounds. It scales exponentially right alongside your success. So, we've gone from the pain of that manual grind to a concrete blueprint for an automated system that generates value around the clock. By understanding just a few core ideas, nodes, APIs, and JSON, and applying them strategically, we can build these powerful engines that put key parts of our business on autopilot. This lets us shift our focus from being operators, stuck in the weeds, to being architects, designing the future of our business. So I'm going to leave you with this one question. Think about your own daily grind. Think about all the copy pasting, the manual data entry, the same repetitive emails you send out every single day. What is the one task that, if you automated it today, would give you back the most time and energy to focus on what really matters? That's your starting point. That's the first gear for your own automated flywheel.